Hi there, Chestnut class. This learning video is all about how to work successfully using pounds and pence, and we're going to practice some of the skills and explore some of the concepts which will allow us to operate and work with pounds and pence successfully. The first tool we're going to use is a place value grid. Now, this place value grid looks very, very similar to the type of place value grid that you would use when you're operating with ones, tens, hundred thousands, and also, I suppose, when you've moved on to looking at tenths and hundredths as well. The first value that we're going to pop into this place value grid is 25p. Now, this is really simple. 25 is made up of a 10 and a 10 and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1 pennies. Okay. Now, where it becomes a little bit more challenging is if we want to represent 25 pence, not as a value of pennies, but a value of pounds. So what we need to do is we need to think about using a decimal point to help separate the whole values of pounds, so values of pound which are whole values, from those values which are smaller than a pound. So on this side we have the values which are a pound or larger, and on this side we have values which are smaller than a pound. Okay. By doing this, this helps us to record this value of 25 pence in pounds, because we can clearly see there's no 10 pounds, there's no 1 pounds. So I can put a 0 here to show there's no whole pounds at all. I can then put my decimal point. I can then show that there's 2 lots of 10p's, okay, and 5 lots of 1p. So that value of 25 pence can be recorded like this, or it can be recorded as 0.25 pounds. Okay, let's have a look at another value. Okay, £4.52. This time I've gone straight in there and recorded it as a decimal value of pounds. So let's have a look. £4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. 50, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 1, 2. Now I could also record this as a value of pennies as well. I just have to remember that each pound is worth 100 pennies. So there'd be 400 pennies, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 450, and 2, 452 pennies. These values are worth the same amount. They're just two different ways of recording that same value. £4.52, using that decimal point there to separate the whole values of a pound from the values less than a pound, or 452 pence. Let's do one more example. Ooh, £11 and 5 pence, a tricky one. So we've got a £10, got a £1, got no 10p's there, nothing in the 10p column. So I'll leave that completely blank. And then we've got 5 1 pennies. 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. Now, if I wanted to record that as pennies, I'm going to have to work out, first of all, how many pennies is in a £10 note. Well, I know that there's 100 pennies in a pound, and there's £10 in £10 note, so I'm going to have to take 100 and times it by 10. It's going to take me up to 1,000. Okay, so there's 1,000 pennies, 1 in the hundreds column, 0 in 10p's column, 5 in the 1p's column. So my value there would be, I've got £11 and 5 pence, or I've got 1,105 pennies. Okay. We're going to use and apply these skills for the duration of this lesson. Okay. Another tool that you're going to be asked to look at this week is part-whole models. A part-whole model just basically takes a whole value and shows you how it could be split up. So for example, this value of £5.32 could be split up. You could split it into pounds and pennies. So I could put all the pounds on this side. So I'll put my £5 over there, and I'll put my 32 pennies over here. 32 pennies, if I can try and squeeze them in. That's not the only way it could be split up. I could split it into £4 over here and £1.32 over here. I could split it to £3 here and £2.32 over here. I could even split it to something really strange like £5 and 10p over here and 22p over here. I could even split something even more bizarre. I could split it to £5 and 11p over here and 21p over here. Okay, there's all sorts of different ways that you can use this part-whole model. Okay. Same for this one, £1 and 2p. So I've got a pound over here, got 2p over here. I could have it as £1 and 1p over here and 1p over here. I could even, if I wanted to, swap this pound and have 50p's, but I'm not going to get into that right at the moment. Okay, this one here, it might be expressed the other way when it gives you the values here and asks you what the whole value is. It gives you the parts and wants to make the whole. So here we've got £3 and 21p. Alternatively, you might like to record that as 321 pence. Okay, both values mean exactly the same thing. So part-whole models are something you might be asked to look at this week. You might be asked to convert from pounds to pence, which is something we've just looked at. So you might be given a visual cue, or it might be written down, for example, in pounds. So you might get a number written down like £1 and 21p. It might ask you to convert that. So your job would be to convert that into, right, well, I know that represents 100 pennies. Okay. And I know that represents 20 pennies. And I know that represents 1 penny. And it'd be your job to add those values together to make a total 121 pennies. Okay. So you guys will do a really good job at that, I'm sure. It becomes a little bit more challenging, slightly more challenging when we talk about multiple pounds. But to be honest, as long as you remember that each pound is worth 100 pennies, or each 100 pennies is worth a pound, that should be fine. It becomes slightly harder again if there's a £10 in there as well. As long as we remember that that £10 value is equivalent to 1,000 pennies, then actually that should be quite simple. Okay. Something that you might be asked to look at are comparing amounts of money. So which is larger and smaller. For these, you'll just be reintroduced to the bigger than, smaller than, equal to symbols. So over here, you've got a value of 125 pence. Okay, and you're comparing it to a value of £2 and 5p. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need at some point to compare like for like. So you can even have to convert this value into pence or this one into pounds. It doesn't matter which one. I think I'm going to take this one and convert it into pounds. So 125 pence. Well, I know 100 pennies, that's equal to a pound. Oh, not an exclamation mark. And 25 pence is 0.25. Okay. So now I've converted like for like. It's much easier for me to say that £1.25 is clearly smaller than £2 and 5p. Okay, look at another one. Okay, it's hard to compare 1,206 pence with £12.60 because this is represented as pennies and this is represented as pounds. At some point, you're going to have to convert it so you can look at like for like. Okay, what did I do last time? So I'll do the opposite. I converted pennies into pounds. This time I'll do pounds into pennies. Okay, so this one I have to remember that this £10 value here is worth, basically it's worth 1,000 pennies. This 2 is worth 200 pennies. This 6 is worth 60 pennies, and then there's no 1 pennies. So I've got a value of 1,260. So 1,206 compared to 1,260. Aha, now it's easy for me to interpret. 1,206 is smaller than 1,260. There we go. Last one. Again, this is hard because I'm trying to compare a value that's represented in pennies compared to a value that's represented in pounds. So I'm going to have to convert one to make it like for like. Okay, I'll do this one this time. So I have to remember that the 300, that's equivalent of £3. Okay, write it £3 like that if I wanted to. There's no lots of 10p, so that can remain 0. And then there's 3 in the 1p section and the 100th section. £3 and 3 pence, £3.03. Now it's much easier to compare £3 and £3.03 compared to £30 and 30. Well, that's clear and that's obvious. £30 is much, much larger. Easy peasy lemon. Oh, no, not that one. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay. So hopefully this will give you a bit of a help this week when you're asked to compare values of money, or you're asked to convert values of money, or you're asked to use part whole models, or you're asked to view or think about money in terms of place value grids. Hopefully this video will give you a helping hand in solving some of the problems that Mrs. Barter has set for you this week. Okay, good luck guys.